Tell me about your last day in Vietnam. What do you remember about your last day?
Last day in Vietnam. That was a great day. Actually, I didn't know I was going home. Really, I didn't have any idea. I wasn't even thinking about getting to go home yet. And I knew that I was getting short as time. I mean, they only made you do a year because unlike today in the Iraqi war where, they're calling, guys are having to go back for more tours because they only have so many guys. During Vietnam, they were just drafting more guys. They did draft more guys. They had 500,000 guys drafted. So they had guys and they could get more. But my last day, I was actually, at that point, I was up north. I did a lot of fighting and was on many operations down south. Then I was moved up north and went into Laos and on Operation Raven and again on Operation Phoenix. And I was basically, I was getting set up for the night because I was going to do an ambush patrol and I was kind of getting, laying out. I was a sergeant at that time. I was kind of laying out my map where I was going to take the guys and we were going to set up on a trail and I was trying to get things laid out. And this lieutenant, who became a pretty good friend of mine, just walked over and said, "There's going to be a helicopter here in about 10 minutes. You're going to be on it." And I'm like, "To go where?" I mean, I'd been, a lot of times they'd told me, "Get on a helicopter." Well, it wasn't to go home. It was go somewhere else to help out somewhere, help some guys out that were in trouble. And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "You're going home." And I mean, it was just like, going home. I'm going home. I mean, it stunned me for a minute, just like took me by surprise because I'm in the combat mode, I'm not in the going home mode. And I was trying to shake it off, and I'm like, what about my weapons and stuff? He said, "You need to go over and to see Sergeant, I don't remember his name now, turn your weapons into him, And well, at that time I carried an M16 and a 45 and I don't know, probably 2 or 3 other guns that I kept on me. But I had a bunch of stuff to turn in, so I was like, okay. And sure enough, the helicopter came and they were like, "Griggs, get on the helicopter." And I'm like, okay, I didn't know where it was going. It really didn't matter at that point. But if it was going towards home, I was ready to go. Well, actually, they flew me over to Chu Lai, and which was on the coast, and it's up north and on the coast. And they flew me up to Chu Lai, got on a C-130, flew me south to Tan Son Nhut Air Force Base, got on an airplane, a civilian airliner. They had civilian airliners there, and got on a civilian airliner. And no guns or nothing, but I'm still in my jungle uniform and still got mud on my boots, and away we go. We take off and we fly in the air. And one thing we knew is that the North Vietnamese had a lot of rockets, and we were afraid they would shoot us down before we could get out of there. And the plane takes off, but when it got out over water, we knew the 7th Fleet was sitting out there. And we knew they couldn't get out there where the 7th Fleet was. And well, man, you could hear a pin drop on that airplane. And, because you remember, I came over by ship. That took me 22 days to get there by ship. And now I'm going to fly home, and we're going to fly to Yokota, Japan, and then jump from Yokota to the States. But when we got out over water, man, that place just erupted on that airplane. And in fact, we scared the stewardesses. And that was quite a thing too. We were actually looking at real American women, which was a great thing. And you got to go on R&R when you were in Vietnam. And but they would, you could go to the Philippines, you could go to Japan, and you could go to places where they had more Oriental women. Well, it was a great thing. Let me just say this: it was a great thing to see some American women. And so the airplane just, exploded with applause. Guys were, we're out over the ocean. We get to Japan, take on fuel, and head for the States. And we come to the States, flew into the States. They flew us into Travis Air Force Base, Vacaville, California. And we're coming into Travis, and it was at night, and I could begin to see the coastline. And I was looking out the window, and for the first time in a long time, I could see red, orange, blue. You have no idea what that's like. All I've been seeing is green. There are no colors in the jungle. Men don't have red on them. They don't have blue on them or white on them, or anything else that are those colors, because it gives your position away. It's just, you become a target. You know, I remember one time I got hit in the eye it was an accident by an antenna off of a APC, and it busted my eye all open. And the medic, who wasn't a Green Beret medic, because I was attached to another unit right then, put a great big taped a big hunk of gauze, because I had blood all over my face, and he tapes this big hunk of white gauze on me, and I'm like, is that the only color you got? I mean, you might as well put a bullseye on me. And but he's like, well, let me see if I can find some, something that's camouflaged. And I appreciate that. But anyway, I'm looking at the coastline, and it was so wonderful to see all those bright colors again. And we land, and I'm putting my feet back on American soil. I'm back home.